Hello, and welcome to How to Color a Comic Cover. That was very alliterated.
So, if you'll remember last time, which for me was like 2 minutes ago, but for you, I guess it's been a while, so I should probably remind you. We did the inks on this, and so now they've all got all of their inks and drawing and outline ready to go. And now it's time to slap some color on this puppy. Arf, arf, arf. No, not that kind of puppy. So in order to do that, I have gone ahead and I have added in the in-between, I've added color layers for each character. And I'm going to use this nifty little trick I discovered for doing color. So for starters, I need to knock that back down to windowed mode. And I had this. I need this back. The reason I need this back, pardon me, is I'm going to steal the colors from it. Just, for consistency's sake. So here's Calamities. Yeah, get it? Yeah. There's Calamity. And that's his hat. I guess I'll go with his hat for now. That's good. That'll do. That'll do, pig. No, that's the wrong thing. That'll do, donkey. That'll do, pig. That's babe. And that's, he didn't have a accent like that. Anyway, I'm conflating my movie references. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with Calamity color. I'm gonna grab the ink layer first. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select outside the ink layer, and also right in here because there's a gap there. Basically, where all the gaps are. Then it's a little on the outside, so I'll select, modify. First I want to do is inverse. So now instead of having the outside selected, you can't see. Now instead of having the outside selected here, I have the inside selected. So, oh drat. I forgot to start recording, didn't I? Oh, no I didn't. No. My thing's still going. Good. We're good. I think it's good. It should be good. Am I good? I don't know. You're about to see something very strange. This is the waveform. This is where I'm recording the audio. Hang on. Make sure it's going. I bet that was riveting, wasn't it? Okay. I might edit that out. I might not. We'll find out. Anyway, as I was saying, now instead of having the outside selected, we have the inside selected. Now there's still a little bit of space right in here between the actual line itself and the edge because of the feathering, dithering, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, modify, I'm going to contract by a pixel. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select, modify, contract this by about a pixel at a time. Get something kind of like that. I'm going to contract it a little bit further. And then I'm going to add some bits that I perhaps shouldn't have lost and cut some extra bits out. Like that. Just follow the outside edge. I see like there's a spot there that I need to cut out. Yeah. And this will make it much easier later. Like right now it's not necessarily great, but it will be easier later. And all I have to do here is just worry about the outside edge. There, move this. A lot of the parts where it comes to a point, it has problems sometimes. So like, if something's got fur or hair, like these characters do, sometimes it can be a pain. And I cut a little too much out there, but that's just because the difference in line thickness caused some issues. Add in there. Subtract here. Subtract here. Put it down here too. Add in there. Subtract here. See, this is another point. I can do this now because the inside is the part that's selected. See, that had gone out. I said last time, you might have forgotten, you might not have, that a lot of times when I'm going back in to do the coloring is when I'll catch like places where the lines are overlapping and I need to erase something or something like that. Like I just did there. So, nope, wrong thing. I want shift, not alt. Alt takes it away, shift adds it in. Shift is add, alt is remove. There's your little Photoshop lesson for today. Not that it really probably matters to you. This is an old, ancient version of Photoshop that the Aztecs used to make their murals of Quetzalcoatl. It's just a fun word, Quetzalcoatl. If you can even pronounce it. Okay. Alright, so I've got that selected pretty well. I'm happy with it anyway. And now, I'm going to take this and do I want to do it that way? Or do I want to do a contrast color? Let's just do basic color. I'm going to do this. But, no. Oop, I almost screwed up. I almost messed up. Because I stayed on the ink layer. You want to use your ink layer to select the area. And then you want to go into your color layer. And then you do this. Bamf! See? Look. Filled in the whole thing. With the base color that Calamity is. And then, it's time for the wonder, the absolute marvel, that is the pencil tool. Okay, so for the longest time, I did not understand what the purpose of this tool was. Because it gives you this hard pixel line. It doesn't feather it any at all, has no aliasing. And I always wondered to myself, what is the purpose of this? Why you wouldn't want to draw with that? Like, why would you want to do that? But then, I was watching a tutorial once. Well, it wasn't a tutorial. It was like this, what we're doing right now. It was another artist, just working, plying their craft. Why is that? Oh, because it's the other sketch that's overlapped. Is it Professor sketch? Yeah, I'll turn that off for the moment. But yeah, it was something just like this, where I was watching Straw, and he pulled out the pencil tool, and I discovered what the pencil tool is really for. Because here's the deal. I shall demonstrate. If you use the brush tool, like this, right? And then you try to fill, you get this weird, like, little ring aura kind of thing going on around the edge, where there's a little light line in there, and you have to go in and actually cover that up. But if you use the pencil tool, because it's got that hard edge, bamf, you don't have to worry about, going back in and fixing that ring. It's brilliant. So, the advantage of it, especially when you've done like I just did and selected the whole area, what I can do is I can go in and I can go with the pencil tool and I can draw, hang on, get my darker brown back. I can draw like this to partition things off, and then just bamf and fill entire areas. And then I don't have to go in and worry about touching it up, because thanks to the pencil tool, it goes right up to the edge of my line. Now, of course, if you were to remove the inks, you'd have all these ugly hard lines, but you've got the ink layer on top of it, so it doesn't matter. So you do this, and just kind of cut this. So basically, at this point, you're cutting it into pieces, rather than trying to color the space in. Now, sometimes it's fun to just grab your brush tool and actually just color it in like this, like you would on a piece of paper. Especially if you're bored, or if time is not an issue. But alas and alack, time is an issue, so we're going to do this the fast and easy way. Just do this, just follow my line. I go in there. Now you notice I have a hard line right there, and my ink line didn't go all the way. I can either go back in on the inks and touch it up and connect it, or what I'm more likely to do is go in with the smudge tool and just like blur it a little bit and just leave it like it is. Because sometimes, a lot of times, you don't actually have to have your line go all the way, because the human eye / brain connection will go ahead and fill in the gap. So you don't have to actually do it all the time. Human brain is an amazing thing. So anyhow, okay, I think that's cut off entirely from everything else. So I can just go ahead and paint bucket that. Yeah. See, now you understand what I was saying last time about why I love coloring digitally so much more than by hand, because that by hand would have taken me 10 times as long. And then just like bam bam, I'm done with that. I mean, I'm not done, but I'm done with that much already, is my point. Here you get his chest fur and his ear. Oh, wrong thing. Try again. Alright. Ba 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 ba. And then back to the old here especially, I'll probably do a little bit of a blur effect, but worry about that later. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I've got a little bit of a lag on my laptop. Hopefully things aren't too bad on your end. I thought I had this thing pretty well figured out, whatever. As long as I don't drop frames or anything like that, a little lag is fine, because I can just readjust where my sound is. It's not that big a deal. Okay. There's the ear. And then it's time for the... This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna put that line there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in and I am going to, pardon me, blur up that little area there. And then this, blah, 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 blah. See, times like this are the times when I would normally just kind of sit and listen to things, listen to some music, or, whatever. Because this is, for the most part, this is kind of mindless, tedious stuff. Like, it doesn't require tons of focus. It just requires doing the thing. So it's the perfect type of thing to do something else while you're doing, or to listen to something else, or whatever. Have a conversation. Things like that. Oh, well, I was trying to ask last time, in the comment section. I wasn't trying to ask it in the comment section. I was trying to ask you to do this in the comment section. I don't know if I actually finished my sentence or not, or if I got distracted and chased White Rabbit somewhere else. But topics of discussion while I'm doing this. This is going to be fun. This is probably just going to be covering the flats. In other words, just this. Just getting the colors into the spaces. Actual things like shading and stuff like that, I'm probably going to get to in the next video. I'm probably not going to include that in this video. So there'll be some space, some time in there. So you guys can, give me ideas of things that I can sit here and yap about while I'm working here. What would you like to hear me talk about? Would you like to, do you have any questions about what you've seen so far and how I did, this, that, or the other? Feel free to ask that. If you have questions about the comic, how I go about printing these things, that would be maybe something I could talk about. In fact, I think that's probably what I will talk about here in a second. But once I finish this thought, but the idea being that there are other things that can be spoken of here that might help. Because again, like I said, usually I just kind of zone out and listen to stuff, listen to music or whatever when I'm doing this. So I can't guarantee that this will be the most riveting commentary that I've provided you. In fact, it'll probably be the least most riveting commentary just because of the content. Because I can't talk about the drawing itself, and I can't talk about shading techniques or anything like that. This is just, no, we're just filling areas with color. That's all we're doing right now. It's not exciting. And, it's something we can do. Maybe you've learned something about why the pencil tool exists, at least. My mind was blown when I saw that. I'm like, oh, now it all makes sense. It all makes sense now. Okay. Pardon. I need his bandana. And I need... His mouth is not open. What other color does he have on him? I don't think he has anything else other than the white. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the white. I wasn't gonna do the white yet. Usually I would go back. Oftentimes, when I'm doing the comics like... you can't see. Hang on. There we go. When I'm doing the comics like this, usually I save the white, like the white and the red, for near the end, because he's got white on him. He's got white on him, and the Professor has lots of white on him. And the red of his bandana is the same as the red of the Professor's, his bow tie. That's the word. Yes. It's the same color as his bow tie. And what have you. So it's easier for me to just do all the red in one fell swoop and do all the white in one fell swoop. But when I'm doing this as a comic, I do it slightly different. Like, when I did this, all of the inks were on one layer. And all of the color was on another layer. rather than them being grouped individually like Calamity and Barron and whatnot. Because when I'm just doing flat colors like this and I'm trying to save time and space, it's just much easier to do it that way. But for a cover like this is going to be a lot more complex. I'm going to have a lot more layers per character, including shading and highlights and stuff like that. And then I'm going to want to be able to remove each character independently of the other characters to kind of, you know, if I need to shuffle their positions a little or whatnot and try and make them, you know, try and make the composition tighter or whatever, because this is a more complicated and in-depth picture than the frames in the comic are. So there's a lot more going on, and so I've got a lot more. It's a lot more a lot more complexity. But and because I'm doing it that way, I'm going to go ahead and do the red. No, I don't want a brush. I want the. There we go, pencil. I'm gonna go ahead and do his red and white anyway, because you know that's going to be on his layer, and when I get to the red and white on, say, the professor, that's going to be on a separate layer entirely anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off his layer before I move on to the other character's layer. And now, why did I start with Calamity? Because he's in the middle, I guess. Like, there's no reason I started with him. I could have started with the professor or the Baron. It doesn't really matter, but it's just what happened. See, this is the other fun part about being able to use the pencil tool like this, is I don't have to worry about it bleeding over. So if I do that and I just hit this, it made a liar out of me. It made a liar out of me because it did bleed over. Oh wait, no, I know how to fix it. Turn anti-aliased off. Bamf. Yeah, there's a couple places that look like they need touch up, but that's not bad. Anyway, go back to this and just kind of move this a little bit. But yeah, because they'll just go right up to it, to the other lines, and not bleed over as bad. Okay, doke. So we got that, and then we got got white. Whoa. What happened? Oh, that's what happened. When you hit caps lock, it gives you a precision cursor, which you can't even see on the screen. Can you see it? I'm trying to move it. Okay, yeah, you can see it, just barely. But anyway, when you hit that, it gives you a precision cursor, and when you hit this, it gives you the actual rounded cursor. So, anyway. I'll go like this. I've had some issues with my internet connection recently. And since my computers here rely on that internet connection in order to communicate with each other. If it's being slow or problematic, that can negatively affect my recording capabilities here. So like my computer is lagging because I'm looking over here at the recording computer, and it's a little bit behind my actual drawing computer. So I don't know. I may have to adjust some things. Right when you think you've got it figured out, something goes wrong. Don't it just figure? Anyway, like this. Cadet. That looks good to me. Let's fill her up. Yep. And hey, look at that. Look at that. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to do one other thing here. And another thing that I'm going to do is this, and this is going to seem weird, but I have reason. I have my reasons. Actually, do I want to do it that way? No, I don't. I don't want to do it that way. I'm gonna go black. There we go. Oh, I also want to get this too. Missed a few faces in there. Get those. Get a little bit smoother, and then go back to the, well, hang on, I need it here too. And then grab the black again, and that's for his hat band. I don't know, this one I'm gonna just color in, because it's a narrow little area, and it's just, I don't need to use the bucket. Okay, got all that. Da, 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 da. We have the torch. What color do I want the torch to be? I want the torch to be kind of an off brown. I'll go ahead and grab the brown of that stick. That'll be a good torch color, I think. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do well. Like this. Fill her up. Same thing here. Fill that. And then there's a little bit right in here that you can see. There we go. It's all of Calamity except for the eyes. Should probably get those too. There's no reason to not. Now, Chris, I can somehow hear you protesting through the monitor. Aren't there supposed to be, like, white highlights on his eyes and nose? And the answer there is yes. Yes, there is. But I'm going to do that on a different layer when I do the other highlights for the rest of the picture as well. So, I'm just going to leave it be for the moment. Alrighty. So, we got that. Now it's time to move on to other things. We'll actually take Calamity et al. And I'm gonna drag him behind the Baron for the moment. So the sketch goes behind the Baron sketch. The color, ink, pupils. There we go. Can turn the sketches off. I don't need the sketches anymore at all. I might keep them in case I need them for reference for whatever reason, but I'm going to turn them off. Okay, that's that. Now we need the Baron color. Let's do Baron colors next. So, you got that. Guess what? Save! Save it! Save and save often, kids! Saving is important. Bye. Just save. Alright, got it. I hit the button. Control S. My friend. My good friend, Control S. Now, let's see. What's next? So I've got to do the whole selection thing with Barron inks, like I did last time. So I'm going to go ahead and select the outside area. Are there any gaps like the one with his arm there? I don't see any gaps, which is good. So select inverse, and then modify, contract, select, modify, contract. See, now you may be asking yourself why it is that I'm just inching forward by 1 pixel at a time when I could just put in like 4 pixels. But the reason is that way I can just dial it in a lot more precisely depending on the thickness of my lines and stuff, and having some preset works out better that way. So, grab my lasso, go ahead and handle those corners where things are just maybe a little iffy. This one actually worked out pretty well. Doesn't look like I'm going to need to do a whole lot of editing on this one, which is nice. Oops, wrong thing. Fun fact, the Barron here is partially inspired by Snoopy's Flying Ace persona. Fun fact there for you. I mean, he's nothing like that. Aside from the flying airplanes part, he's nothing like that. But just the general idea of a canine pilot character comes from that. Because he's some kind of dog. I don't know what kind of dog he is. I've never really thought about it that hard. He probably doesn't know either. This is his backstory, as it were. And this is as complex as my backstories get when it comes to this particular property. Like, the Gidget stuff is more serious, so you're going to get more complex backstories and things out of that. But, you know, this is a silly, goofy comedy cartoon, so it's not going to be super heavy. But he crash landed in the middle of the Outback, and he can't remember who he is anymore. And it's played for laughs, so when it's ever even brought up at all, it's something. It's a concept. It's a part of his character that I came up with when I first created him. That is just it's stuck around, like it's still there, but I really don't make much use of it. It's, you know, it's an occasional punchline, but that's really it. It's something that I might like to explore at some point in the future. I had thought about if I ever do like a Christmas special or something, you can try to find out who he is and like realize, you know, try to find his family or whatever, and then realize that his friends, his Outback friends are his family, and, you know, that's something, yeah, all touching and sappy. Now, I used ink to select it. Now I gotta go to color, and now I can do things. Yay. He's mostly brown, so I started with that. Even though he himself is this tan color, there's more there's more brown on him than the tan just because of his clothing. Like this. But anyway. So yeah, he's got that little backstory tidbit thing. They think the best anyone can figure is that he was a stunt pilot of some kind and then crashed doing an air show or whatever. That's what everyone thinks. Anyway, he had a flyer with him. It said something about the amazing Barron, but it was ripped, so like there was no other useful information on it. However, Barron was misspelled with 2 R's for whatever reason on the flyer, and that's why his name is misspelled with 2 R's. In universe, anyway. Outside of universe, it was my own stupid mistake. I misspelled it, and then I said, you know what? And by the time I realized that I had been spelling it wrong for ever, I said, you know what? Forget it. There's a reason for it. I'm sticking with it. Because it's not just a title, it's his name, and it's spelled with 2 R's, and that's how it's gonna be. So, if you've ever wondered why the Baron's name has 2 R's in it, now you know. It's because it was misspelled on the flyer that he had with him, where he got his name. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see them, but his air quotes name, because nobody knows what his actual name is. So everyone just calls him the Baron because that's what the flyer said. And everybody calls him the Baron with 2 R's because that's what the flyer said, even though the flyer was obviously just a typo. And that, kids, is how you cover your mistakes. Actually, another fun one, and I should probably save this until I get to the professor and I'm coloring him, but forget it. I'm going to do it now just because it makes more sense in context to the discussion as it is at the moment. The reason that the professor's shoes are black is because he originally wasn't going to have shoes, and I was trying to draw platypus feet, but I didn't have any reference. So it's like, I have no idea what a platypus's foot looks like. Is it webbed like a duck's? Is it like more like a beaver's? What does a platypus's foot look like? I did not know. So I tried to come up with something, and nothing was working. And I had erased so many times at this point that, like, it wasn't erasing property, and there was this big kind of dark smear where his feet were supposed to be. And I'm like, you know what? Forget this. I'm just going to give him shoes. But because there was this dark smear, I made the shoes black to cover up all of my mistakes and things in my terrible, awful attempt to draw platypus feet. And that, kids, is why Professor Platypus has black shoes. As Bob Ross would say, we don't make mistakes, we make happy accidents. We don't make mistakes, we have happy accidents. So that was my happy accident. It kind of fits though, because it makes it look like he's wearing like rubber-soled shoes, which, you know, playing with electricity and other dangerous things that he plays with, you know, it kind of makes sense that he would wear shoes like that. So, like, in the end, it worked out, and it made sense. But that's why the professor has black shoes, is because I couldn't draw platypus feet. But I tried. Boy, did I try, and boy, did I fail. I could probably do it now if I wanted to, because I came up with these characters have been around since I was in high school. Like, that's when I came up with these characters. They were nowhere near as good as they are now. Like, they were very, very much in a prototypical state at that point in time. But, actually, you know what? I take that back. Some of these things actually date back to before high school. They go all the way back to middle school. Wow. That's a trip. But anyway, so yeah, middle school me did not have the slightest clue how to draw a platypus's foot. Since then, I have come a long way in my artistic journey. But by gum, he still has those big cartoony shoes. Those big black cartoony shoes, because that's just what I went with all those years ago, and it stuck. The Baron here used to also have, he was a little more mentally unbalanced, I suppose you could say. Again, from the crash and the wreck, messing some things up upstairs. And he used to have a sock puppet that he would talk to. And that's another thing that's like, I never really, I just slowly stopped using that gimmick, but, you know, on occasion, if it calls for it, I might throw that in. I might throw the sock puppet in I might throw the sock puppet in on this next project that I'm planning on. But I don't know. It's going to depend on whether it works in context or not. Because like I said, I kind of gave that up as a shtick in favor of, actual giving him a character instead of just having, a shtick that he had. I think it's probably more something now. It's like he's sitting around bored and messing around, and it's like it's something he does when he's bored, rather than something he does because he's not right in the head. But it's interesting. I just thought it'd be nice to have one of these aviator coats with the like warm collar thing. Like, oh, can you imagine like in the cold how nice that warm poof, how nice and comfortable that warm poofy collar would be? Oh, I dressed up like him once for Halloween. I've actually dressed up like all of my characters. Well, not all of them. I take that back. I haven't dressed up as Caitlin, because that would be weird, because she's a girl. And similarly, also, I have not dressed up as Gidget for the same reason. But I've dressed up like Calamity. I've got like I have a safari shirt and a hat like his with the folded brim and everything. And I wear that hat a lot if I go camping or something. It's my camping hat. But I also wear it at conventions and things. If you've ever seen me at a convention, you'll know that I kind of wear the safari kind of outfit similar to what Calamity has going on. It's not the same. It's not quite the same colors, but and obviously Calamity doesn't wear a safari shirt or anything like that. And then of course when I dressed up like the Baron, I just put on your typical aviator outfit. It's really hard to find one of these helmets, by the way. I looked high and low to try to find an like an old school style aviator helmet, and you can't find these things. Even like fake ones for costumes, you can't find one. I had to make one, complete with goggles and everything, which was actually kind of cool. I still have it, but I had to make it because I couldn't find one, and I was surprised that it was so hard to find one. A leather jacket, not hard to find. I had one actually that I could wear, but man, I tell you what, finding one of those helmets is they don't have them. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go to, let's grab this darker brown. And let's also, let's zoom in a bit here, and let's grab his zipper collar. Gonna need a lot of that. You just have this little bit right here that's visible. But yeah, I dressed up as him, complete with the mustache. I mean, obviously it wasn't that cartoonishly big, but I had a mustache. I actually grew mine out, which freaked out a friend of mine because she doesn't like mustaches for whatever reason. She has like a phobia thing for it, and so she saw me. She was not comfortable with that. It was kind of funny. Anyway, and then I've also got a lab coat and goggles, like lab goggles and what have you that I used to do the professor, complete with like completely messing up my hair, and so that I have the wild, crazy, mad scientist hair and all of that. Like none of these in none of these costumes did I bother actually like trying to make myself look like an animal. I just wore the same costume that they wear, the same wardrobe. Because I feel like it would be kind of weird to try to dress up like a dog in an aviator costume. I mean, I don't know. That may not be the weirdest thing ever, but I don't know. You start getting to like the furry fursuit territory thing there, and that's a little overboard for me. Not to say there's anything wrong with people who like that. I'm pretty sure that I have a few people who are into that sort of thing who are pretty big fans of my stuff, which like, there's an interesting amount of overlap there, but at the same time, like cartoons versus that, there's some pretty major differences as well. That's a whole nother conversation that I don't really want to have because it could be kind of uncomfortable. The point is, it's a little overboard for me. I'm not that gung ho, but I'm gung ho enough to make my own aviator helmet. By gum. Alright, let's see here. Get rid of the black parts. I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, right, his pants. Durr! I went out of my way to steal that color and I just forgot. Okay. Do like this. Da, 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 da. How the heck did I get on costumes? I don't know. I did one year. Speaking of making hats, I made one year that was like this dome that looked like a control cockpit. And I put Pinky and the Brain in it, and then I wore that on my head like I was the robot. It was fun. That was a couple years ago. I was pleased with that one. That one was lazy and not lazy at the same time, because like for the rest of my costume, I just had to dress in normal clothes. But the hat was what took so long. But the hat made the costume. Like the hat was the costume. But that's the kind of beauty of it, is all I ever have to do is just put on the hat. So. Alright, let's see here. Do this. I want to see something about how I did this. Right. You see there's a little line there that I tend to leave in order to delineate the difference between the straps and the actual goggles and everything. I don't know that I'm going to do that here though, because this is going to have shading and highlights and stuff like that. That will probably do that trick better than leaving that line would. So I'm probably not going to do that on this because of the extra added detail that is going to be put into it by the end product. So I'm not going to concern myself with it at the moment. I may have to negatize the lines so that I can see them again at some point and have them as guidelines for when I actually do all of that shading and highlighting. Highlighting being the major thing in regards to something black like this. because like there's really not much shading that's going to happen here because it's already black. So like it's the highlight. The highlights are going to be the more important part of this deal. Okay, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna hold off on the broken control thing. Wheel? Is it a wheel? No, stick. They call it a stick in an airplane, even though that's like 2 sticks, but whatever. I'm gonna hold off on that because that's in a different comic, and so I want to steal the colors from that. If I'd been thinking, that would have been the one I pulled up, but I also needed one with Spaulding in it, and Spaulding was not in that particular strip, so yeah, you know, I had to choose. And I chose the one with Spaulding because I wasn't thinking about this at the time. Okie doke, we're gonna move on. You guys know the drill by now. You know how this works. I'm gonna go to the Professor's ink. I'm going to select the outside. This has a few more gaps in it. I need the gap here. Oh, nope. Add it. No, there we go. The gap there. And that's the other one of these going the other direction. Where's that? What was that supposed to be? Sometimes you draw something, you're like, what was it supposed to be? I don't remember. So I was like, is this supposed to be the other one of those? Flap them this way? Or is this? I think it's supposed to be this. It's whatever I want, I suppose, because I'm the one who makes the decisions right now. Oh dear. We're all in trouble. If I'm the one making the decisions, we have reached a new nadir of existence. This is what this is. Anyway, select inverse. Select modify contract. Select modify contract again. Yeah, getting there. Select modify contract a third time. Yeah, that's good. In some place. Let's do it one more time. Seem to be doing it 4 every time. See, it's a little too much right there, but yeah, it's a little too much right there, but we'll work with it. I can just add to it. Nope, let's add to it straight. There we go. Like that, and then subtract. Take things away. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Except for this. I giveth and taketh away when it comes to this. That almost got sacrilegious right there. Okay. Go here. Put this here. Professor and his crazy hair. Why have you got to be so pointy and make my life so hard? Put that there. No, don't do that to me. Why? Sorry, that was overreacting. Or overreacting. Overreacting or overacting. It was kind of both, wasn't it? Cut that out. A little bit here. It's not an exact science. It's really more of an art, I guess. Durr! You mean art's an art? You don't say. You know what I meant. Or I know what I meant. I don't even know what I meant. What am I talking about? Alright, and we add this in here. Cut a little bit out of that. Maybe a little bit of that. Add a little bit of that. Cut a little bit out of that. You see, this is the boring part. This is boring. This is tedious because I have to focus and pay attention, but it's still boring. Like, I'm sure you guys are just on the edge of your seats right now. Guarantee you that I've probably lost a lot of viewership by this point. People watched the first one like, oh, okay, well, that sucked. It's kind of interesting, but where was the drawing? And then they got to the second one, it's like, hey, there was drawing. But then, like, well, dude, what's with, like, the serious metaphysical, philosophical junk? I'd sign up for that. I signed up for cartoon silliness. And then, after that, it probably just went downhill from there. So if you're still here, way to go. Thanks, I guess. What are you doing to yourself, and why? You can go if you want. You really don't have to subject yourself to this. I'm sorry. Alright, let's see here. Add that in there. See, it's as if it's not bad enough that the professor's got his wacky wild hair. Then Spaulding comes in with his... Well, it's not even hair. His grass. And like, really? Why must my life be this hard? Okay. Stop it. You want to do the thing. Okay. Yeah, this one's definitely been the hardest one to get selected. But you saw with the other two how easy it is once you get everything selected properly. You can just like breeze through coloring it so quickly. Nice. Smooth. Like a baby's bottom. Okay, go there. Cut this out. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. Cut it out. Imagine I'm doing that hand gesture. The cut it out hand gesture. What was that from? Was that Full House that was from? I don't remember. If they used it on there, I don't know if it was from there. That was a long time ago. I watched that. I think they've made it like sequel reboot thing for that one, but I have not seen it. As I don't have time for things. Too busy doing my own things. Oh, my neighbor says hi, or something. Can't tell exactly what it is she's saying, but she's saying something. What did I come here for? I came here to steal colors. What colors do I want to steal? I want to steal the professor's hair, and I want to steal his bill. Man, I wish someone would steal my bills and pay them for me. That's not how that works. Okay, we're gonna fill it up with... Gotta make sure we go to color and not ink. Turder! I should have done it. Let me check and make sure. Yep. It's all good. Scoot. Scoot. Pardonnez-moi. I am better. Like, I'm not coughing or sniffling as much, but it's still not all gone. And we do this for his check. This for his bill. This is riveting television, folks. This is absolutely groundbreaking film. It's going to win an Oscar and an Emmy and a Peabody Award. And when I say it's going to win a Peabody Award, I don't mean the Peabody Award you're thinking of. I mean Mr. Peabody is going to show up in his Wayback Machine and give us an award that they are going to give in the future for people who do fantastic time management related things. Yes, that is precisely what's going to happen. That was a good movie. The Peabody and Sherman movie. I remember the segments on Rocky and Bullwinkle. And I felt like that movie did those segments justice, and then some. Like, it did a really good job expanding on it. And the animation was good. Like, it was a very underrated movie, I think. Why are you filling the whole thing? You shouldn't be doing that. You're cut off. Oh, no, wrong thing. Let's try again. There we go. Like, but why are you doing this? Why are you being this way? I do not understand. No. Why? Why? Are you gonna be nitpicky and make me go all the way around? You're gonna do this to me, aren't you? Aren't you? See, you're not even the same color. See, sometimes it'll do that if it's close enough to the same color that it reads it as the same color, but this is not even close. I don't know what your issue is. There we go. See? Why? Why were you this way? Why were you being contrary? Why didn't you play nice? Bah humbug, says I. Alright, let's see. It's 4:40 right now, where I'm at. I would like to be wrapped up with this by 5. This particular video has been going on for an hour. It's been going on for an hour. Wow. Yeah, this particular video has been going on for over an hour. It's time to stop it, pretty much. But yeah, it's 4:40 right now, and I'd like to be done by 5 because I have other things in my life that I must attend to. So, I'm looking at this. I think I'm gonna be able to get all of my colors finished. See, it worked there. I don't know why it wouldn't recognize the bill. I must have overlooked something. Anyway. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be able to get this thing done by then. We'll see. I'm wanting to get all my colors done. If I don't quite get all the color done by the time I have to quit, I'll probably just go ahead and finish that up on my own, independently of you people. You won't get to see it. Boo-hoo. But you're not going to be missing much. As you can see, this is not the most exciting part of the process. This is the boring, tedious part. Yeah, I want you. Here we go. Yeah, this is the not so fun part. But hey, just like in life, you gotta get past the not fun stuff to get to the fun stuff. That's your life lesson for the day, kids. Sometimes you gotta do stuff that you don't really want to do, or that's boring or tedious. And you gotta do those things so that you can get to the things that you do want to do. The things that aren't boring and tedious. Because once I have this thing all set up with the colors and everything, then I'm going to get to go in and play with shading and with the shading and the highlights, and then lighting effects too, and that's always fun. When we get to the torch up there in the corner, it's not in the corner, but it's up off of this corner right now. When we get to that torch up there, and we get to start playing around with making fire and doing making the fire and doing like lighting effects and glow effects and things like that, that will be fun. That'll be interesting. You might even learn something there. I might even learn something there. I mean, I've done stuff before, but you know, I got there through trial and error and learning, so You know, who knows? I might learn something new about how to do fire. You never know. It's just kind of a fun, exciting thing. Why am I filling this in this way when I could be bucketing it? I don't know. It's because it's getting late in the day. It's not that late in the day, but it's getting late in the work day anyway for me. And I'm hurrying to try and get this thing done in the next 15 minutes or so. Especially for you guys, because you've been sitting here watching me do this for quite some time now. Very patiently. You're real troopers if you're still around. It's entirely possible most people are not going to be around anymore, and that's okay. I understand that. Not everybody's got time for big hour-long videos. I don't typically have time for big hour-long videos unless it's something that I put on in the background while I'm doing something like this. Which I can do. Like, I'll fire up something like this. Sometimes I'll fire up something like this on my laptop, and I can just kind of watch it while I'm doodling. Which is not really watch it, I just kind of listen to it, rather, while I'm doing this. And then, you know, if there's something noteworthy worth seeing, I'll glance over, or I'll, you know, rewind and watch it, and then go back. I'm pretty sure I've actually said this before in a previous installment. This is redundant, but still. I like long-form videos. But I understand some people's jobs are not the kind of jobs where you can do that, you know. If you're working 9 to 5, loading, you know, packing pallets in a warehouse or something, that you're not going to be doing this. And then you're going to come home and you're going to spend your free time doing things that are more productive and more interesting than sitting and watching me draw and blab about it. So, like, I blame you all of none, oh warehouse pallet stacker. None whatsoever. But those of you who find this interesting enough to actually stick around and listen to me shoot my mouth off while I do this, then, you know, good on you for that. I hope that you've gotten some kind of entertainment out of this. Some sort of, perhaps, enlightenment. I don't know. But I hope it's been worth your time to some degree. It's been worth my time. But then I didn't really have much choice on the matter. 'Cause I'm working. This is me working. This is what I do. This is my job, kids. This is what I do for a living. Not much of a living, but this is what I do. Actually, this is not what I say that. This is really not so much what I do for a living. It's commission work that I do for a living. Because that's what pays. This, hopefully, will pay at some point. Thing about artistic endeavors is that the payoff often comes after quite a bit of work. It's not like your 9 to 5 job where you get a paycheck every week. It's like, no, you get to work for 5 months on a project, and then once it's done, maybe you can sell it, and maybe you can't. And if you're lucky, then you can sell it, and that's 5 months worth something. And if you're not lucky, well, then you better come up with something else, because that didn't happen. That's freelance art 101 for you. It ain't easy. But nobody does it because it's easy. People do it because it's their passion. And it's what they want to do. And you know, that, my friends, is intangible. That is not the kind of thing you can put a price tag on. Because there are plenty of people like that hypothetical warehouse worker that either hate their job or just don't care about it. And it's just something to pay the bills and put food on the table. And that's it. And I get to do stuff like this, which I love doing and enjoy tremendously. Because even this, like I mentioned, you know, the coloring, not the most exciting thing in the world. Kind of boring. And certainly not my favorite part. But, like, it's still very relaxing and soothing. Like, it's kind of boring, but at the same time, it's sort of just sort of chill, and it can be nice. It doesn't require my brain to be, running 100 miles an hour. It doesn't require focus or anything like that, or concentration. It just requires, hey, fill this space with color. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's not tedious. It's very relaxing. So like even the parts like this that aren't my favorite parts, they're still good. They're still enjoyable to me to some degree, and that's, you can't put a price on that. You just can't. The sort of contentment and just sense of accomplishment that you get out of just creating something with your own two hands, making something where once there was nothing, and hopefully something of value and worth that people can enjoy. That's totally worth it in every way. So I am not going to complain. Alright, let's see here. This goes here. I think, now I think about this, I think Professor Platypus here is the only character that's been on every cover so far. Because, let's see, the Professor, Calamity, and Caitlin were all on the Dungeons and Doorknobs cover. And then obviously Professor Calamity, Caitlin, and the Baron were all on Dungeons and Doorknobs cover. And then, I forgot about this part. And then Professor Calamity and the Baron are on this. And then Caitlin and the Professor are on the Minecraft one. So that means the Professor's the only one that's been on all of them. But don't worry though, Professor's not going to get too much attention. Sometimes I almost feel like the Professor's vying for top billing over Calamity, but because he's definitely a very major character as well. But he's actually not gonna have a very big role in the project that I've got going on, just because I want to give the other characters an opportunity to do some things. So I guess this isn't too spoilerific. The Baron's gonna be in it, Calamity's gonna be in it, and Caitlin's gonna be in it. They're gonna be the main three characters that participate in my next project. There will be others. The Professor will be in it some. As will some of the other characters that are like minor characters. Croc, I don't think is in this. Is Croc in that one? No, Croc won't be in this one. Croc is not the main antagonist for the next project. Don't worry though, he's certainly not going anywhere. It's always interesting to me how much attention Croc gets. When I did that candidating game, wow, like some of the reactions I got to that were not what I expected. I'll tell you that much right now. It's surprising how many people actually sided with Croc. And I did pains to make him like the most unlikable person. Like there's just blatantly hated everybody, and some people were still on his side, and I don't know how much that had to do with the political climate at the time and parallels that people were drawing, but And were there parallels? Yes, but it was not done to parallel it. It was actually something that existed in my mind before that, and I only threw it out there because the parallels seemed kind of ironic to me. But like, there's no. But like Croc is Croc. He's his own character, and he's got his own little set of issues, and I don't know. I did this whole not Twitter takeover, because it wasn't on Twitter. I need to get on Twitter, because that seems like it's slowly starting to supplant Facebook, kind of the same way that Facebook did with MySpace back in the day. Of course, me, I'm the type of person that's always of the mindset of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it took me forever to give up on MySpace and move to Facebook, because why would I go to Facebook when I had MySpace? And it did basically the same thing. It actually did more from an artist perspective. It actually did more, because you could actually customize your page with HTML and things. Like, I had all these custom graphics and stuff on mine, and why you can't do that on Facebook? And I'm like, why is everybody hopping over to Facebook? It's like a lot more boring version of MySpace, and I have MySpace. Why would I do that? Well, I tell you why you would do that is because everybody else goes over there, and there's nobody left on MySpace. And if you really want to keep in contact with all your friends and things, then you better hop over too, because that's basically what happened with me. And I bet you folks probably haven't even heard the word MySpace in probably over a decade. Unless you've been listening to Weird Al's White Nerdy song, which just makes it even nerdier. But anyhow. But now Twitter seems to, unlike MySpace, I don't feel as though Twitter's going to completely erase and supplant Facebook like that. I think Twitter is just kind of something different than that. But I personally don't see the reasoning behind moving over. I don't see it, it just seems redundant to me. I don't know. But I do know there's a lot of people over there, and a lot of people seem to be migrating over there and getting fed up with Facebook, which I understand. I can understand from somebody who tries to do business over Facebook. I can understand the discontent, because so many of you guys don't see the things that I post, because it's so picky. Is picky the word? No, but their algorithm's garbage, and only a few people that actually watch my page actually see everything I spit out. Now, I could pay money so that everyone who actually watches my page can see what they watched my page for, but as though it wasn't. And then there's ad stuff on top of that. I mean, I understand. I can definitely understand the disillusion from businesses or anybody that's trying to promote via Facebook, but I don't understand is the general audience's shift away towards that. I don't get it. Isn't one thing enough? But I also understand that I gotta go where the audience is. So I need to do that. And it's just something that I've been putting off, because it's just one more website that I have to worry about. Because I'm already dealing with, let's see, how many websites do I deal with? 5, I think? There's Facebook. There's DA. Those are the 2 big ones. And then there's Webtoons and Tapas. And then there's this side, the YouTube thing, which isn't quite as important, because it's a different thing entirely, because it's videos and not, comics and things, so it's different types of content entirely. But to add, but then I also have my own website which I have to worry about, and it is still not finished. I've had it up for a year and a half now. It's still not finished. Like, the important parts function. The comic, you can read the comic and you can find the contact information. It's like those things are the important things. But the portfolio tab is still not working. The media link tab is still not working, which would be great, because then I could consolidate all of those pages and things that I just mentioned down to one place. But there's that, and then on top of that, even, I've got to deal with just email in general. Because, a lot of my clientele is over email. And so, it's so much to have to juggle, and to add another thing to that. Oh, I forgot Tumblr. I have Tumblr too. I'm on the Tumbles. So I got that. So, adding another platform is just another thing to keep track of. And I need to do it. I do. I need to do it because that's another audience that I am not reaching. That I need to reach. But, I'm just one guy. There's only so much I can do. Suppose I could hire somebody to do that for me, but I don't know. I don't have enough money to hire somebody to do that for me, to be honest. If I could get friends, perhaps, to do it for me. I have a couple friends that help out with my Facebook page from time to time, so I mean, it's not unfeasible. But I don't know. It's just something on the list. There's so many things on the list. It's a very long list. Go a bit smaller. There we go. That's what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Okay. Swap out. We're almost done, folks, I promise. Just gotta get Spalding done. Okay, and then we got this. Alright, and then let's take a little bit darker still to do these ones back here. Those actually aren't on this. I don't know, there's a couple of them on there, but they're not as pronounced. But again, we're doing a little more detail on this because it's a cover. So we'll layer it a little deeper, and we'll have like some back layers and things, and there's just a little bit more going on this cover, my cover picture, than was going on on the actual pages themselves. And you'll see that in comics and comic books and things, like the cover art is oftentimes far more produced than the art inside, which is not to say that the art inside isn't good, because it usually is, but the art inside is a little more simple and a little less detailed and fancy. Okay, let's see. I think I got just about everything. I need to do a little bit of a highlight, or not a highlight, but the color on his glasses, and I need to color in his control stick. But time has run. Time has run low. And, I mean, we've been going at this for an hour and a half, folks. And it's time to stop. It's 5:04 down there, you can see, over by the clock. And I need to stop. I needed to stop at 5. It's actually a few minutes past, but it's close enough. It's not exact. I have a flexible enough schedule that it'll be right at 5. But I do need to stop, because I have other things that I need to do. So that's gonna be it for today. It's been a very productive day. We finished the inking, which was in the last video, but I did that immediately preceding this. So we finished the inking, and then we got all of our, or almost all of our flats done. Again, like I said, missing a few of the colors on the props, but that's negligible. That's something I can just take care of on my own later. Save and save often, kids. But yeah, so that's what we got. That's where we're at right now. We've made a lot of progress. Like I said, got the inks finished, got our flats almost completely done. When we see each other again, or when you see me again, or when you see this again, on the next video, I'm going to go ahead and I'll finish off the flats on his control stick and, touch up a couple other things. And then it's going to be time to go in and start really fancifying this up and doing all of the shading and highlighting and stuff. And that part's going to be a lot more interesting than this was. So looking forward to doing that. Until then, you guys all have just a absolutely phantasmagorical day, and I'll see you on the next one.